What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Namra podcast. I'm Taylor Cacchiola with my partner, Russ Mangson. And today we're going to talk about some organic, free strategies so that you can grow your social media platform. Let's get into it.
Awesome. Yeah, let's do it. I think great topic of conversation. Everybody is in budget saving mode right now. It's just the state of the world right now. So we obviously have plenty of experience helping people go from point A to point B to eventually like growing, reinvesting in budget and so on. But we know how to take you from a small budget to maybe a medium-sized budget and like what the blueprint is to get there. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and we've talked about before, like everyone starts at zero, right? Like that's everyone starts with 0 followers. So you have to start somewhere. And I hear a lot of people oftentimes say, like, I have 65 followers. It's not even worth posting. And it's like, that's stinking thinking, man. It's like if everyone had that mindset, we'd all be at 0 still. Oh, so it's like I was actually having a conversation last night. I was giving a social media seminar, and the guy who actually owned the bar that I was speaking at had like his social media is like awesome. He's got like 10,000 followers on Facebook, 6,000 on Instagram. The thing I asked him was, like, how did you do it? Like, how would you recommend to people that they grow? Because he hasn't spent a dime on paid ads. And he said, dude, the thing people forget is to go the extra mile and just actually like engage with people. Like he said, he would like pretty much every single person that engaged with a post for like the whole year, and then he would go out and follow like every small band in the local area because he wanted them to come and do gigs there, and then comment on posts. And he would do, like, he's the business owner and he was going through all this effort, and like he didn't like doing it, but that's how he grew. And now that he's up to a couple thousand, it's so much easier to grow organically. So that's how he did it. And that's like, I think that's the perfect play-by-play rubric. So maybe let's start there. Like, what are some of the first plays business owners or people can run to grow their profile from 0 to, let's say 100? Like, how do you get your first 100 followers? So what would you say?
Yeah, I mean, you touched on it already. You have to follow people in order for them to even know that you exist, right? So if you actually have 0 followers, your step 1 is to follow other accounts. That's what Instagram even prompts you to do when you create a new account. It's just, you got to follow 10 or 15 people to get you started. And then you have to post, you have to be authentic. You can't see it instantly as, well, it's not worth it. You have to understand you're at 0, but you're gonna get to 1, and then 2, and then 10, and then 100. And like you said, once you get yourself to like 2,500 to 5,000, getting to 10,000 is easy. And when you're at 10,000, getting to like 25, 50, like you start to hit that exponential growth sort of tipping point. I had a conversation last night with a guy talking about tipping points, and he did the same thing. He had a crazy reputation in business, and that helps, right? Like, he had an unbelievably impressive career, like from college right out of the gate, worked for the government, worked for really big companies, like skyrocketed success, very sought after in his industry, then started his own company. So when he started his own company, his LinkedIn was already like stacked with great connections, and he just started making very simple videos. But in like 4 years, he's built his YouTube channel up to like 20,000 subscribers, getting thousands of views, and he's just educating, being himself. Came up with a silly character, but he has not paid a cent in advertising. It's been all organic. And he said even him, with a really strong industry reputation for exactly what his new business is involved in, like everybody he's connected, still took him 3 years before he started to hit a tipping point where it was like, oh yeah, I'm getting like a lot of inbound followers, and like you start to.
And there is something to be said about, like, you have to know your business, your industry, and like if you're only offering services to professional services in the Worcester area, then you don't need 1 million followers. You just need 2,500 really well qualified ones. And that's what people, I think, miss a lot of times. I would rather have 200 very well qualified followers around me that might actually give me business than 1 million followers that are just gonna like my post and nothing else. Like those real core target audience, those followers that are actually gonna bring you business, that's what we need to get. So I would say, like, step 1, start engaging with the right people. Not everyone, not spam. Start engaging with the right people.
Yep.
An example, if you are a mortgage broker, you should probably start following a shitload of realtors and closing attorneys and people who are, in on, home improvement. Like, these are the types of people you need to build up that sphere group. You can go out and start spamming and following random people who might need a mortgage, but that's gonna be a tough ask. So I would it starts with the marketing, know your target audience, and then start engaging, following, commenting the right people.
Yep, join some closed groups.
Absolutely.
Those are huge, but that's what it's all about in the very beginning. Glad you brought me back because I got off track. But the nitty gritty actual networking of social media is the most important thing when you're like under 1,000 followers. Like, that's where you're building your actual grassroots following that's going to stick with you when you have 50,000 followers. But that's what every influencer has, a great like first 1,500 people who were with them from day one. And they got there by actually knowing those people, like whether they met them commenting or met them through networking and then followed them.
The social media, there's the social aspect.
Your core like 500 to 1,000 followers needs to be real people who know you and like actually like you and trust you in the industry and respect your influence to a certain extent. Like, you're actually building a little bit of like local social influence. You have to.
A qualified audience of potential consumers and fans. That's got to be the North Star.
That's literally goal A, B, and C. Like, and then you get into like, oh, we should go viral. We should maximize the tagging and start to pop into the discovery section. Obviously, like, that's great long term, but there's so many people who are thinking about those things before they have built up like a true grassroots following of like real people, real industry people who know, like, and trust them. That's how it always comes back to that. And it's hard to break through to the next threshold without a really solid grassroots following to begin with. So anything you can do, comment.
So I would say, like, maybe the next thing that people can do, first, engage with those qualified people. The second thing that you might be able to do, just off the top of my head, make sure that, like, when see who's engaging with your post currently and see if they follow you. So if 10 people like your Facebook post, great. Go into there's an actual tab, you can go and see who liked your post and then follow all the people or invite to like your page the people who liked your post. Because that's a free at-bat right there. You can do that immediately. Facebook, same thing, or LinkedIn. Facebook and LinkedIn, go to your friends list and then hit invite. Invite as many people as you can to like your page. Make sure there's good content on the page first, but that's like the next thing you can do. Invite people to come to the page and like the page, because if you don't, there's no guarantee that they're going to.
Yep, couldn't agree more. You just have to put yourself out there. Like, a lot of people, they think that just posting is going to be enough. And especially in the beginning phases, it's just not. You have to actually use it for what it is. It's a tool to help you connect with other human beings, other people. So you have to like grind that out, learn the platforms. Like, people are uncomfortable doing that in the beginning because they've never done it before. But if you spend more time on the platforms, it gets easier and easier for you to just say, like, yeah, I'm going to do 5 comments a day on another page's posts, like another good influencer, maybe locally, or a popular account. Engage with their pages. So, I mean, I know a lot of accounts who have blown up just because, like, Slim Jim, they're just commenting on other people's posts, and that's how they're like gaining all their following. It's not, like,
and that makes sense because their audience can be anyone. Period. It's a consumable good. So that makes sense. They want that mass following. It's like Coca-Cola. They want that mass brand awareness.
The concept's the same in a micro environment too, micro industry environment. Like, just find the 10 most relevant people in your local area in the industry and start saying great job, thumbs up on every one of their posts until they follow you back. And then when they follow you, DM them and be like, hey, you want to grab a coffee? Like, it all comes back to real connections, and people lose sight of that. I think that there's a human on the other side of every page. You're trying to connect with them.
And it's like you said before, how can you provide value? How can you engage? How can you be social? If I was to give like a third tip, the third tip that I would say as far as growing your page goes, look at some competitors who are successful. Like, who are the people in your industry that are doing a really good job? Go to their page right now. Okay, look at people that they follow and look at the people who follow them. That is right there. If they're a similar industry as you in a similar business, those are all probably qualified consumers and fans that like you could follow and you can engage with. The work's already done. See who is an industry leader and try to take some of those plays. Look at those people that they're already connecting with and engaging with. Those, they've already signed up for one, real estate agent's page. Why not another, right? So that's a third thing I think that you can do right now to start growing that page. Do you have another one? I'm thinking probably the fourth one would be a little bit more technical, but just if you're posting on Instagram, make sure you're using hashtags. Like the hashtags will actually get you into the feed so that you get found by some more people. And R&D, rip off and duplicate. Like same thing, go back to that 2 or 3 industry leaders, see what they're using for hashtags. If their page is successful, I'm willing to bet their hashtags are probably doing pretty well too. So take a peek what they're doing for hashtags, and same thing, copy them, use something similar, at least follow some sort of formula and test it out. Because if you don't have any hashtags on your organic Instagram posts when you're starting, then it's really hard to grow. So I think those 4 things are, right off the bat, 90% of people are missing who really haven't broken that 1,000 like or follower threshold. Any other suggestions or tips?
Patience always goes back to that, because like on the hashtag conversation, a lot of people like they'll first of all, I think like if you're under like 100 followers or like around there, like don't give up on hashtags so early. It's not a cheat code to like get you a billion views. Everyone's using hashtags. It's like every tag is a little brick to this like big eventual house you're trying to build. That's a culmination of all of your posting, and eventually you'll have 1,000 posts and you'll be very strong. But your first like 50 posts when you have 50 followers, hashtags are not going to just drop you into the discovery section and like have you blow up.
No, but it's going to tell Instagram what your page,
what you're trying to do. Yeah, it's you're just building rapport with Instagram so that when you have 500 followers, you're more likely to hop in the discovery section than an account also with 500 followers that has not been tagging. But I see people like give up on tags, or they just have the wrong impression of what's going to happen when they use hashtags. Like, well, how come it's not viral? I used the hashtags, and that's not how it goes. Everyone's using the hashtags. When they first came out, it was great. If you were the first guy who like used hashtag sick photo, they did explode back then. But now it's different. It's so convoluted and so overused.
I think that's a good quick like synopsis of what are some grassroots things that you can do. And if you're already doing all of those things, I would say keep doing it. Keep doing that.
Yeah, that is the right strategy. And so that's part of like the growth curve you have to be aware of. Is sometimes it takes you 5 years to get to 2,500 followers, and it takes you the next 5 to get to 1 million. Because it's that momentum you're trying to build, and it all starts with a legit grassroots following of like people who know you and who see your video and actually share it and send it to their friends because they like you. They understand that you're like legitimate in your industry, whatever it is. Like you have a little rapport. You can caveat all of this with make sure the content you're posting is valuable. Like that I think goes without saying because we talk about it all the time, but none of this is going to be possible. You're not going to be able to grow if the market, if the people out there don't deem your content as valuable. So this is caveated with these 4 things are great pieces of advice if the content you're putting out is good and they deem what's good. You don't get to deem it's good. So I would say those 4 things. First, like, comment, engage with other local people, actually follow other pages, make sure that you're using the hashtags on Instagram, and then invite people to come back to like your page and make sure you're always giving value. Truly build your reputation. It's huge. Like a lot of the people we work with, they're industry professionals in one industry or another, and I think people forget they're building their career alongside their social media presence. And so like it's often a pretty accurate representation of where you're at. Like you could be super smart and your content could be great, but if it's your first year in business, all of those people who you're looking to connect with, they still know it's your first year. And like, they might be like, yeah, great videos, kid. Like, I'll talk to you in a few years. And you have to know that like every video you put out now is still worth it, because they will come back. How many times have we had people reach out 6, 7 years later because of like a cell phone video we posted probably when we were sitting in like at the UMass Dartmouth library planning. Like, I remember and like they saw what we were doing, got, you know, tons of people who reach out and say, hey, I remember you from social media seminar 2017, or every little thing, like all these seeds you plant, every post you put up will help. And appreciate the 50 followers. Because like the comparison, like the classic comparison is like, imagine if you had 50 people in a room at a seminar. Like people work a lot and market themselves pretty heavily to get 50 people in a room. So if you got 50 followers, 100 followers, appreciate those people and start with them, because that's what brings you to 2,500, 25,000 in the future.
Yeah, perfect. So I think that's pretty much it. Anything else you wanted to cover?
No, I'm good. Wanted this to be a quick one. If you guys have any questions, always let us know. Never hesitate to reach out. We're here to help.
All right, stay tuned for the next one.
Thanks, guys.